You've seen this logo everywhere, on sneakers, jerseys, and billboards. It's more than a brand. It's a $5 billion empire built on one of the most famous images in sports history. But what if I told you the man who inspired it got nothing? This is the story of a photographer, a billion-dollar sneaker empire, and a lawsuit that could have changed sports branding forever. But who was the photographer behind it all? And how did his work become the foundation of one of the biggest brands in history? Let's jump in and take a look. The making of a photographer. Before he ever picked up a camera, Jacobus Rentmeester was an athlete. Born in the Netherlands in 1936, he competed as an Olympic rower in the 1960 Rome Olympics. But when his athletic career ended, he didn't stay in sports. He turned to storytelling, not with words, but with images. After studying photography at the Academy of Fine Arts in Amsterdam, his work quickly caught the attention of Life magazine, one of the most powerful publications of its time. But Life didn't send him to cover fashion or celebrities. They sent him into the heart of conflict, culture, and history, and that's where his legacy began. Rentmeester wasn't just a photographer, he was a storyteller. His images shaped how the world saw history. In 1965, he covered the Watts riots in Los Angeles, capturing some of the most haunting and raw depictions of racial unrest in America. His photos didn't just document the event, they exposed the anger, fear, and desperation of a community in crisis. Then, in 1966, he was sent to Vietnam. But unlike many war photographers, he didn't just capture combat, he captured emotion. One of his most famous shots shows a soldier lying in a muddy trench, staring into the camera, exhausted and haunted. His work wasn't all conflict, though. He also photographed Japan's snow monkeys, capturing their quiet, meditative existence in ways that had never been seen before. The images became world famous, showing a side of nature that felt almost human. By the early 1980s, Rentmeester had built a career documenting some of the world's most defining moments. But in 1984, he took one photo that would define something else, a brand. Rentmeester had never shot basketball before. But in 1984, Life magazine sent him to photograph the U.S. Olympic basketball team, and among them was a 21-year-old Michael Jordan. He wanted something different. He wasn't interested in a dunk or a layup. He wanted flight. He directed Jordan to leap, one arm outstretched, legs extended like a ballet dancer performing a grand jeté. A single frame, a perfect moment. He clicked the shutter, capturing what would unknowingly become the foundation of a billion-dollar brand. At this time, Nike was searching for a defining image to sell their new Air Jordan sneakers. They saw Rentmeester's photo and paid him $150 for limited rights, a small, routine transaction. But instead of using his photo, Nike staged their own version. The pose was the same, the framing was the same, but this time, Jordan was wearing Nike sneakers against a bold red backdrop. That version became the Jumpman logo. Rentmeester started seeing his vision everywhere, on sneakers, on jerseys, on billboards. Nike wasn't just making money, they were making history. But here's the thing, Nike has a history of aggressive branding tactics. They've faced multiple lawsuits over intellectual property, accused of taking ideas, modifying them slightly, and turning them into billion-dollar businesses. This wasn't just about one photo, it was about how Nike operates. In 2015, 31 years after taking the photo, Rentmeester finally took action and sued Nike. His argument was simple. Nike didn't just take inspiration, they copied his artistic direction, framing, and composition. Nike's defense was simple. They basically claimed that a single pose can't be copyrighted. They argued that Rentmeester's image wasn't unique enough to be protected and that anyone could have directed an athlete to jump in the air. And that single argument was enough for the court to rule in their favor. Rentmeester lost. Years of work, a defining moment in sports photography, and a billion-dollar empire built on his vision. Yet, legally, he had no claim. But was it really that simple? The ruling came down to how copyright law works. The case set a legal precedent and raised a huge question for creatives. Where is the line between inspiration and theft, especially in today's world of social media and content creators? Even after the lawsuit, the Jumpman logo became bigger than ever. It changed sneaker culture, streetwear, and even hip-hop. Jordan's partnership with Nike redefined athlete endorsements forever. People weren't just buying shoes, they were buying into a legacy. Nike turned Jumpman into a status symbol, but it all started with one photograph, one moment, and one man behind the lens with a creative idea. So, who actually created Jumpman? Well, the courts say Nike did. But history tells a different story. I think we can all agree that Rentmeester's photograph was the blueprint that inspired Jumpman, and without it, there's a very real chance that Jumpman wouldn't even exist. But let me ask you guys, what do you think? Was this fair use? And did Nike have a good point? Or do you think Nike stole a photographer's work? This was Beyond the Frame, and we will see you next time.